Many of you are in your fantasy football playoffs. Some of you are deep into the regular season. So let's get Jeff's take on Thursday Night Football, Cowboys and Bears. Jeff, who should be in the lineup tonight?
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. It's going to be cold in Chicago, but you got some playoff implications here. I know you're talking about the Bears. The Bears have a really long shot, like a 3% chance of getting in. They have to win out and hope for a lot to happen, but odds are against them. But still, they're going to play hard. So look for Dak to be a good quality starter at quarterback this week. Running back, Zeke is definitely running back one, was Dave Montgomery and Tarek Cohen, especially in PPR leagues, are running back twos. Wide receiver, Amari Cooper and Allen Robinson are solid wide receiver twos this week, along with Michael Gallup in the wide receiver three spot. PPR leagues, Anthony Miller and Cobb for Dallas are both options as flex plays.
All right, let's take a look at some quarterbacks here, see who Jeff likes. For Week 14, some quarterback plays from Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. Ryan Tannehill, Tennessee, they're taking shots down the field. They're playing good football. What about them against Oakland?
They are, and they're really in a spot where they need to win. They got some tough games coming up. They have to play Houston twice, so they really need to win in Oakland. So look for Tannehill to settle up again, throw the ball out against Oakland, who's been struggling of late. That's almost like a playoff game this week.
Baker Mayfield, they got Cincinnati this week. He's kind of been, boom or bust, it seems, this year.
Yeah, and he hasn't put up the numbers very much. Again, Cleveland's in a spot where they really got to win, and Cincinnati finally got their win for the year, so they could pack it in at this point. But Baker Mayfield's more of a quarterback, too, this week.
Jared Goff, over 400 yards last week. Does he have a repeat performance against a struggling Seahawks defense?
Yeah, Seattle defense, the team's playing well overall thanks to Russell Wilson, but their defense isn't holding up the end of the bar. They're getting up a lot of points. So look for Jared Goff. It put up a lot of points this week, even if at home. He kind of has a reverse split there. But the Rams are another team in a spot where they got to win this week. Their schedule gets really hard the next 3 weeks.
How about Russell Wilson? He's had an MVP-type season. He had the game against the Eagles. He kind of struggled. He had the big throw last week, but do you like him this week against L.A.?
I do, and I think that game's as a 34-31 type shootout with the Rams. Again, both teams are looking to put a lot of points up there. Seattle's trying to stay out in front in San Francisco. Both teams have a lot to play for this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, answering your questions at 609-403-0973. Send your fantasy football question via text, and Jeff and Ryan are compiling those questions right now. We'll get as many as we can. Let's look at some running backs. And how about Joe Mixon against Cleveland? That Cincinnati thing's been a disaster, but he had a good week last week.
Yeah, he gets a volume, so he's going to get 15 to 20 carries, 2 to 3 catches. So he could probably combine for 75 yards and a probable score if anyone finds the ends on the ground.
Is it time to give up on Le'Veon Bell? He just hasn't been a RB1, that's for sure. He's got Miami this week.
He has been problematic, but he has a kind of a favorable schedule both this week and Week 16 against a rivalry game against the Steelers. So I think he's a running back one both weeks and could help you in the playoffs.
All right, let's look at a guy like Austin Eckler. He's been one of the top scorers in fantasy football, but getting Gordon back, how has that affected that running game there?
They kind of split the difference there. Eckler's much more of the receiving back where Gordon kind of goes between the tackles, but they're both getting a lot of volume, and Phillip Rivers has got to put up a lot of points to keep that game. I think you have Gardner Minshew back for Jacksonville. Could be a very interesting back-and-forth game. I think both running backs are running back twos with a lot of running back one upside this week.
Okay, what are you doing with Miles Sanders? The Eagles play Monday night. It looks like Jordan Howard might miss another game.
Philadelphia has to get back to running the ball. They are much more effective when they run the ball over 50% of the time of their plays, and they haven't been doing that lately. That's why they've been struggling. So I think they're worried about using Sanders too much. They've got Scott to put out there. They don't want to. Ajayi's on one leg, so it's tough. I think that Miles Sanders is definitely a running back one for fantasy purposes, but they're trying to keep him from running him into the ground in December.
All right, we'll flip it over. And Saquon Barkley, he was a high first-round pick for many people. If you're in your fantasy playoffs, is Barkley a guy you're going with?
I think you got to ride that horse. He's your running back one. He's going to be a running back one probably against the Eagles. He's done well historically, limited his history, yes, but he's done well against the Eagles. Eli's a huge wild card in that game. It could be a huge boom or a huge bust. Yeah. I think that both teams are going to be playing a lot, very hard, but I think Barkley's a running back one in a very interesting game Monday night.
Let's go over the wideouts. If you have a question for Jeff, send us a text, 609-403-0973. What about Devante Parker? He had a monster week last week. Does he do it back-to-back?
He did, and he's got the Jets this week, so I think that's going to be a game where Miami's going to have to throw the ball, and they're going to ride a hot hand with Fitzpatrick against the Jets. Are going to want to give the ball to Bell, and I think the Jets wide receivers are some sneaky pickup plays as well this week.
You mentioned Gardner Minshew's back. What's that do for DJ Chark?
I think Chark is a solid wide receiver 3 with upside. They really want to run the ball. Jacksonville doesn't know what they are. They blew the value of Nick Foles by playing him. They should let them on the bench and then traded him when they still had perceived quarterback starter value. Now they run that into the ground. So now they're going to try and run Fournette out there, move the ball around with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback of the future, which means he's got to throw. So Chark and Dede Westbrook are both solid plays.
Couple more for Jeff. Jeff and Ryan are compiling your listener questions at 609-403-0973. Robert Woods, we talked about Goff. What about him against that Seattle secondary?
He's a wide receiver, too, with upside. I think that all the plays, you've got Woods, you've got Kupp, and whoever starts, if it's Cooks, or if it's even the tight end at Higbee is a great pickup if you need a tight end. I think that everybody's in play as far as a receiver for the Rams this week.
Thielen, iffy again. So what's the wide receiver situation in Minnesota without Thielen? How's that been going?
You already get it to my holiday pickup for the week. So I think Thielen's going to be out this week, which means in the spirit of December, Kyle Rudolph is your pickup at tight end. He's going to be seeing a ton of targets, and he scored 6 touchdowns in the last 6 weeks.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Let's get some of our listener questions in today. You can keep texting them in at 609-403-0973. We'll ask and answer as many as we can.
Yeah, first let me just say how disappointed I was to hear DJ Chark referenced and mentioned without the baby in there, Jeff. That's your DJ Baby Chark, right?
Didn't want to go to the well too much.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, PPR League. Someone wants to know, should they start Dallas Goddard or Evan Engram?
Engram, well, the good news is that they're playing each other, so you'll know before kickoff if Engram's going to be active. But I think Goddard is a much better play. Now, Philadelphia's trying to get the receiver more involved, but they're doing a lot of 2 tight end sets. I like Goddard, who's healthy, over Engram, who's not. And there's a lot of receivers back for the Giants, including Golden Tate, to spread the ball around.
All right, Golden Tate or Ridley?
Again, with the Giants spreading the ball around and Tate just coming back from an injury, and who knows what Eli's back, I'm going to go with Ridley.
All right, we've got Ed in Courthouse asking about which defense he should start, Seattle's or Carolina's?
I think Carolina's going to rebound this week with a new coach, and I think they're going to play for that coach, and they're going to do well against Atlanta. It's going to be a hard game, but I like the Panthers this week as a defense.
All right, we have John from the Villas. He wants to know Raheem Mostert or Zach Pascal.
Both are on my waiver wire list, so it's a good question. I think both those guys are solid. Pascal is going to start probably this week because T.Y. Hilton's going to be out again. In a PPR league, I would take him. But Mostert is a solid pickup as a running back flex, and in a standard league, I take him.
All right, we have someone who's in a PPR league. First, he wants to know if he should start Ryan Tannehill or Sam Darnold. And as for his receiver, he's asking you to pick 2 of Alshon Jeffrey, Allen Robinson, and Robert Woods.
Well, I would go Allen Robinson and Robert Wood. Those are probably your solid plays. And as quarterback, I go Tannehill over Darnold.
All right, here we go. Buckle up for this one, Jeff. He's in the playoffs. He's the number 5 seed, and they have a starting problem.
I love the fact that he gave us seating.
Yeah, I love it too. He also enjoys long walks on the beach,
and listing every player he has on the roster and asking Jeff to choose.
And it's Joey D from Ventnor, of course. Come on, Joey. So he has a starting problem. He needs 2 running backs and 1 flex. Half-point PPR league. He has Robbie Anderson, Phillip Lindsay, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, Raheem Mostert, Jamal Williams, Rashad Penny, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, he needs a redraft.
Oh, wow. That was a lot of names. I like Phillip Lindsay seeing a lot of touches. I think Robbie Anderson is a solid play. And I think Penny is seeing a lot of action for the Seattle. He was a solid waiver wire pickup to me as well. They're doing a solid split at the running back position, and he's getting more receptions.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. He's got a couple of under-the-radar guys, some players that should be in your lineup, some guys that he's playing this week. Who are they?
Well, one last question mentioned Jamal Williams, who's another wild card. I would consider him too. He's a running back 2 this week against Washington. Green Bay's going to run up the score and probably get both him and Jones active this week for running backs for Green Bay. So pick up Jamal Williams. Also, I mentioned Rashad Penny earlier and Rasheem Mostert, but Darius Geis might be out there, and also Marlon Mack might have been left out there. And if you're desperate, Patrick Laird is probably going to start for Miami against the Jets. I know it's desperate time in December, so that might be a way you want to go. Wide receiver, I mentioned Zach Pascal earlier. I think the 2 other guys, Robbie Anderson for the Jets and Cole Beasley, who has had 5 touchdowns in the last 7 games, is a solid pickup. And again, I mentioned tight end. Got to close with Kyle Rudolph once again with Adam Thielen probably iffy. Kyle Rudolph has had 6 touchdowns in the last 6 weeks. He's a solid tight end if you need one.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. It's week 14. Some of you have playoffs. Some of you go right to the end of the year. But he's always here with your help and answering your fantasy football questions. Jeff, good luck to you.
Good luck to everybody. Enjoy the games.